We are back with another vibrant episode here on Elevated Barbers Podcast. My name is Bradford Kelly, aka the Business-Minded Barber, and I am here with...
This is Delmar The Prvnce, aka co-host of the one and only Elevated Barbers Podcast. And me and Brad have on our R&B group jackets today.
We're about to sing a song.
Let's start the show.
The information that you're giving them is going to elevate them financially, mentally, emotionally, and going to rise, and they're going to elevate.
We are here trying to elevate barbers as they're elevating the industry.
The one and only Elevated Barbers Podcast. Let's start the show.
So today we have a very special guest, somebody that is one of the most polarizing figures in the barber industry. They will get you upset, they might get you excited, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure that you will become a better barber. And so let's bring to the stage none other than Michael R. Kelly. What's going on? How you doing, MRK?
What an intro. Well done.
How you feeling, man?
Good, man. Just got done working out, so endorphins are high, blood is pumping, bro.
Oh, well then that means we're about to get into something very serious. Anytime the endorphins is pumping, we got to make sure we bring some energy to the set. Right. So I have a question for you. Let's just start this off the right way. I have a question for you. You really don't know us too well, right?
No, not at all.
And so Delmar, I got a chance to physically meet him at the LV Barber Expo for like 32 seconds.
Nice.
I was walking past and then I saw him. I said, "Hey, I know you, but you don't know me, but I know you. This is how I know you." And he was just like, "Who are you?"
It was a brief but warm embrace.
Yes. But Michael, man, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, just to kind of dive into your brain, into how you became who you are, man. You have a lot of followers on Instagram, and when I did some research on you, I realized that you, Delmar, he said that you kind of like the Joe Rogan of the barber industry, man. So you're very polarizing. Some of the things that you may say is intentional to get the attention of barbers. One thing that you said that got me one time was you said, if you ever nick your client, the haircut is free. And I was like, wait a minute.
I hate that piece of content specifically, but it did really well. So
it did really well. So yeah. What do you mean you didn't like that piece of content?
It's low hanging fruit. Those are easy ones, man. Content today is that easy. I feel like people overcomplicate it, but like, is it true? Is it not true? Of course, it's going to be debatable because I didn't provide any context at all in that video. So I was quite literally messing around with people and messing with people's heads, because when you post a piece of content like that, there's a lot of interpretation that may go into it. So depending on your perspective, it might rub you the wrong way, or you might be like, you know what, I've been saying this for years. Of course it's free. So yeah. Yeah.
So when you started to create social media content, was it your plan to become so big? Was it your intent?
When I first started doing content, it was in 2016, I believe, or maybe late 15. I had a good friend of mine, Marcus Hatch, who cuts up Travis Scott and P. Diddy and all these guys. He's from the same city, and he had told me, and we didn't really know each other that well, but I respected him so much that he told me, you got to put yourself out there and let people know that you exist. And I was hiding a lot because I was raised a certain way, you know. I was raised to be a little bit more meek, a little bit more cautious, a little bit more, I guess, I don't know what you call it, humble, if you want to call it humble, whatever your word you want to put on it. So all I was in my little bubble cutting hair. I wasn't worried about what people were doing around me. I was just trying to cut good hair and cultivate meaningful relationships and just be your community barber. That I had no aspirations of going anywhere else with it. So when I took his advice and I just kind of put my toe into the pool, you could say, it just started developing into buying a camera, learning different angles, figuring out how to make the smoothest fade, all this stuff, man. I'm sure you can imagine. It just, it escalates after that. And I dedicated more time to it. And that really was what made it go to the next level.
So if you have not done this already, we're going to need you to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so that you can get the latest gems from everything going on here at Elevated Barbers Podcast.
Your content, I must say, is definitely top tier. And that's something I'm still trying to learn how to do, is using my camera. First of all, just having the confidence to go out there and create the content. because it can be frustrating, as the algorithm is always changing. But
Mhm.
like you said earlier, Mike, content literally is that easy. Just it's as easy as recording what you do every day. If it's a cut, record that, post it on social media. Or if you're talking and trying to inspire people, educate people, record yourself doing that. That's stuff that we can do for free. It don't take a lot of thought. And it's like you said, it's content. Everything that we do in this industry or even in our lives is content that we can post on our social media.
100%.
Yeah, I like one of the things that one of these podcasters that I follow, he says, don't try to create content, be the content. And
Mm,
so if you're just recording what it is that you do, you don't have to create nothing. You
right.
record the haircut that you're doing, you record the consultation. Like a lot of people are doing consultation videos now where they're talking to the client, something that they would do anyway. They just mic it up and then record themselves saying, "So, what are we going to do today?" And then
Mhm.
they just
Yeah.
it's them being the content. You don't have to really create stuff. But you said that you started to spend a lot more time doing that, and this is something that what we want to try to give to the viewers a little bit, is to help unlock this portion within their business. Right, a lot of people are afraid to, like Delmar said, put themselves out there. There has to be something within you, from going from the quote unquote humble barber, so to speak, in your own bubble, to saying, you know what, I'm gonna share this. How did you transition, for those that haven't been able to do it yet? What did you do? And then when you started to take it more serious, what are some of the things that you did?
So I created priorities. The first thing was I had a lot of my energy going left and right instead of focusing on just what I really loved, which was hair. I think where people go wrong a little bit is they let obligations outside of their career kind of take away their energy. And we all have an energy pie. We have percentage of energy inside of all of us. And setting a priority of where you want to put most of your energy is important. I have kids, I have a wife, I have a mortgage, I have a lot of priorities, I have a lot of things going on, a lot of things need my attention. And so I just decided one day it was really important to me to start creating content in a part-time way,
Mm.
because I noticed my followers were getting up there, and I said, the more I take care of my content, the advertising, the marketing, the more it's starting to take care of me. So I'm starting to get paid outside of the chair, and I started seeing that I'm more than just a barber. And my original Instagram handle was More Than a Barber. That was
Mhm.
originally my first
Mm.
Instagram handle. And so you just got to set your priorities and take the leap. It's brave. It's hard because you're going to piss a lot of people off and you're going to make people look at you different. You're going to lose some folks along the way. And it could be even family members. For a while there, I wasn't even hanging out with my family because I'd be traveling to trade shows and I'd be going to expos and teaching classes and things like that and sacrificing time away from family. And it just is what it is. So when you set a priority and channel that energy in the direction you want, I think that's when things change. And you just have to, I don't know if you just have to, but you have to be lucky enough to wake up one day and realize, boom, this is the way I got to go. Not everyone gets that lucky, I understand. And not
Mhm.
everyone, and that may happen at 33 or 23 or 42 or whatever. But I was happy to do it around 26 years old is when I finally was like, you know what? I'm pedal to the metal. Let's go.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I like what you said. Prioritizing that, because we all have obligations. Like you said, you married, have kids. Me and Brad both married. Have a lot of other obligations and responsibilities outside of just being a barber. But as you said, once you noticed that your following was growing, then you started taking care of your content, and now that content is getting you paid. So you're not just solely relying on money behind the chair. Your
Yes.
content is also making you money. It's also getting you. I'm not sure if you have sponsorships, but I see that you work with Wall and Stylecraft and different other companies. So and that's what a lot of the times that me and Bradford be talking about, just finding ways to make income outside of being behind the barber chair, not being locked down behind the barber chair, making passive income. And one of the ways that you found in doing that was content creation. And that just inspired and motivated me. I'm in a space right now in my personal life where I'm networking and meeting and talking with different ones, and I'm taking in all the good and then just trying to see how it applies in my life. And just like you said, prioritizing time to do that because it can get you paid, but sitting down watching TV shows and playing video games for hours, that stuff ain't getting you paid. But if you learn how to, like you said, your thing is creating content and it's getting you paid, now you're starting to have some of your time back and you're not a slave behind the chair. So now you can spend that time with your wife, with your kid, taking care of your house and different things like that.
So if you have not done this already, we're going to need you to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so that you can get the latest gems from everything going on here at Elevated Barbers Podcast. I like one thing that Marv said one time at a expo. I think it was LV Expo last year. And he said that, you don't want to end up sacrificing the things that you're sacrificing for. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how you're doing all this sacrificing for you say you want to spend time with your family, spend time with your children, spend time just doing stuff that you enjoy doing, going on vacations. You say you want to do all of these different things. However, you're sacrificing all of those things by doing what you're doing to make the money so that you can get to those things. And you have to really understand, like you were saying, being able to really prioritize your energy, because you only have so much energy. That's just a reality. It's a ceiling that we all have, right? Another one is time. You only have so much time in a day for you to be able to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And then you only have so much that you can do with your physical body. Your physical body will eventually break down. It'll eventually give out. Something's going to start hurting. And as you're young, you don't realize that. But as you get older, you really start to notice that. Even behind the chair, you start to notice, like, man, my shoulder is bothering me. Yeah. But what you're bringing up is something that I know I speak heavily about, is really learning how to become a ceilingless barber, right? A barber that has no ceiling to your income and no limit to the potential that you have. But you do need to understand how to focus your energy and stuff that you value so that you can continue to want to grow. Because when you started, Michael, creating content, first off, you phenomenal barber. Like, let's just get that out the way. You're a phenomenal barber. Absolutely. If you pay attention to Michael's channel, MRK, if you look at the quality of his cuts, is stellar. It's almost flawless, right? And you're always gonna find somebody that's gonna be nitpicky, whatever. But just being honest and being forthright, bro, you got skills hands down. Yeah. For you to transition that skill set that you have behind the chair on the client's head to being able to create content with purpose, there was some type of mental energy that you put into it. But how did you find your lane? How did you know what you wanted to do? How did you know what topics you wanted to bring up? For the barber that's kind of confusing creating content, what would be your thoughts on that?
So the short answer would be do content that is sustainable. What I mean by that is something that you can beat with a bat over and over and over again, and it's hard for you to get tired of it. So if your thing is edge ups and you love teaching edge ups, then put content out about edge ups. If it's hair restoration, do hair restoration. If it's consultation, do consultation. I'm a mixed bag guy now, but initially when I first blew up on Instagram, it was all about the designs. I could customize the design, and you look at it, and from like 2016 to about 2019, you knew an MRK haircut the moment it was dropped on Instagram, because I created such a groove and such an identity in the haircut style of the freestyle. You could almost see a haircut, even with the way I would edge up a haircut and style a haircut along with the design. There became this like aesthetic to it that even if you were to check on Google Explorer, you would see, oh, that's an MRK cut. People would come up to me at Barber Expos and be like, I saw this haircut on Google and knew it was yours right away. Just because you've developed such a groove and such a style. And I think the best advice I can give someone is, like, if it's content, then focus in on one piece at first. And of course you could branch off later, right? But all the big time Instagram influencer barbers that I know, these people are people who've really doubled down on like one particular like avenue and just refined it until, I'm sure they were tired of it. Because I know from like 2016, like I said, to 2019, I was pretty much tired of being the design MRK guy, and I got bored and I started learning how to use shears and blow drying and styling. I'm just trying to get more well-rounded now and doing things that I more feel intuitive to. But really, the short answer is just do something that's sustainable over and over and over again till it feels kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me think about 360 Jeezy. Like, there's a lot of people who are not even barbers that know who 360 Jeezy is, especially if you're a serious waver. And I think that's how he kind of got started. He was creating content about cutting waivers. He was doing his waves, showing different tricks on how he got his waves the way he got them and woofing. And, he blew up from that. So it's just like you said, focus on whatever your niche is, and then it'll grow from there. And then you can always diversify later.
May I say one additional thing to that? Because I'm a very yin-yang human being. If you do something that's sustainable, but you don't like it, so if it's easy for you, whether it's saying if you nick a client, it's a free haircut or not, whatever you do that's real easy and can be sustainable for you, if it doesn't make you happy, get rid of that. Because you can get yourself locked in a box, and then you're that guy for a long time, and it's hard to unwire a populace's brains once you've established an identity. So if you're the design guy or the I don't know, whatever wave guy, be careful if that's not really who you want to be. Right. Start fishing in different directions, which is what I'm doing now, because I got tired of being basically put in a box. I don't believe in boxes. I don't believe in structures like that. So it's hard to break out of. That's what I'm trying to do now. And so yes, if you find something that you love to do that you can beat to death, do it. But if you're doing something that's easy and you don't like it, but it's just developing followers, be careful, because the followers might help you out, but in the long run, you might get locked into a box, and later on, it could be really hard for you to get out of.
Yeah, they don't like that change.
Yeah, exactly. I think that actually contributes to burnout, So one of the things that I talk about, and I try to get barbers to understand this, is what you're saying right there is you really got to know who you are, so that you can find the value that's within yourself, and then you can share that with the people. But if you just do stuff to get money, profit, it sounds good, but profit without peace is painful. Yes. Like it always hurts when you start making money and you're doing something you don't like doing. And but profit with peace is priceless. Like you can't put a price on when you're making money, but at the same point in time, you're also happy. You also are feeding from what you're doing. And so that's why a lot of barbers get burnt out, even in their growth process behind the chair, because they'll, realize like, I like to do designs or something like you said, but not really like to do designs. They're just good at drawing, and they did it with, and they get known for it. And then at a certain point in time, it's like, bro, like I'm so tired of doing designs. Like everybody coming in for designs. Well, you created the value that people are looking for you. They're looking for that now. And so you either have to keep doing that until you can try and bridge a gap. But if you would have looked inside first to really know who you are, and then once you start to put out the right type of energy, put out the right type of content for who you are, then you will enjoy the growth process, because there's always going to be bumps and bruises, right? There's stuff that I'm sure you've done, Michael, where you was just like, man, I got to do this better, but I liked it though. And that's the growth process, but you enjoy the growth process in making content. So you've continued to grow in it. So that's really key what you're mentioning, man, just about really, really understanding who you are as a barber. Now, we're looking at the 2024 version of Michael, and we're all honoring, and you got a lot of light, all of this stuff. But let's go back to 2016 for a second. I believe that's when you said you started creating content.
Yes.
Okay. So you started doing the designs. It took you from 2016 to what point for you to actually see a return on that investment, which means you started to make money from your content? How long did that go?
Well, let's go back to sponsorship, because the one avenue you can make more money in barbering is through sponsorship. So I started really honing my camera skills and learning how to edit photos without getting real long-haired. It's basically, I started putting designs in like higher quality photos on Instagram, and I got picked up by a company here locally called Blessed, right? Papito Blessed Hands owns it. I don't know if it's still a thing or not, but he gave me my first shot. I didn't have a lot of followers yet, but they were growing, and I was trending up. So essentially what I did was just use the opportunity to be a workhorse for content. I was putting out, we used to call them bangers, but I used to put out 7 bangers a week. So that means a photo that is going to turn heads and get likes. And that was the standard. Most companies now are like happy if you post 1 photo a month or 1 video a month. But then we were workhorses, and we weren't getting paid a lot, but we were getting paid. So you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. You were like, if I do this, wow, I can actually travel and make money doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it started, man. I've been sponsored by 8 or 9 companies throughout these years. But in 2016, I would say it probably took a year or less to really start growing, to really start making money and really seeing an opportunity that this is not wasted energy. This is not wasting time. There's something happening here. And that was a huge boom during Instagram, a huge boom for barber shows. It was just a sweet time to be, I guess you could say, on the come up of what a social media barber is. So,
yeah.
But remember, when I'm saying I was hustling content, it's 7 a week. That's crazy. People don't do that today. I was doing 7 a week, 7 bangers a week with a product next to the head or a razor or something where it was buy this blade, achieve this result kind of mentality in the marketing. And Blessed was going crazy. He sold a lot. He did really well. That company did really well. We had an awesome team too. So, it doesn't take long as you're dedicating and treating it like a serious job. I think you can get a lot done in a short time, but it just feels long when you're tired and you're like, I got to edit this. I have a deadline. I got to a lot of barbers, they're so, what's the word? It's they're undisciplined because a lot of them have just missed lessons. Maybe it's mom and dad's fault, or maybe it's society's fault. I don't know whose fault it is, but that's not the point. The point is people are missing lessons that really apply to any job. So we're self-employed, but we still need to hold ourselves to a standard when working with either a barbershop, a barber school, a barber company. If you say, I have to put out 7 bangers a week, then you put out 7 bangers a week. You don't put out 3 and then come up with excuses. There is no excuse. There is none. So that's the kind of mentality I had, and I still have it to this day. And a lot can get done in a short time when you approach it that way. That's what I think.
Love it.
Yeah, you point out the main thing, man, discipline. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like you said, are not disciplined in this industry, and they tend to treat it as a hustle, which it can be, but I try not to look at it that way because I try to look at it from a professional standpoint. And just like if you was clocking in for somebody and you clock in a certain amount of hours a week, you should take care of yourself behind the chair the same way. You should walk into the shop, whether it's yours or somebody else's, in a professional manner. You should show up on time. Take lunch breaks too. A lot of people don't do that. They skip that part. They don't take a lunch break, and like you said, that's a quick way to get burnt out as well. Speaking of burnout, Mike, I commented on one of your videos recently where you was saying about auditing your energy, and then you mentioned 3 different things onto why people barber burnout. And as Brad said earlier, that's one thing that we mention a lot on this podcast is barber burnout. You can get burnt out easily if you just treat it as a hustle and you're not prioritizing, rest and taking breaks and different things like that. And 3 things that you pointed out, you said prioritize the most important and essential tasks that benefit and sustain you. Then you said 2, schedule the most labor intense or stressful parts of your day at your highest energy level. And then 3, you said take breaks. And sometimes taking breaks may look like taking a day to not do anything, just letting your mind and your body reset. I would like to talk about that a little bit, man. Why, Brad, you can chime in too, but why is, taking breaks and prioritizing your energy, why is that it's so important so that we don't burn out in this industry?
Well, I would say the long ball, right? I'm a long-term thinker, and I think our brain is our best friend or our worst enemy. And when we get burned out, when we're fatigued, the fatigued, frustrated, pissed off mind does not find solutions. Mm-hmm. They're doing, if you watch the Huberman Lab podcast or any kind of scientific studies, they're showing that a frustrated brain does not come up with solutions. So burnout is one of those things that you end up just digging a hole and going into a deeper hole and a deeper hole and a deeper hole. And for me, mentally, that's not good. I'm at my best when I'm well rested and have enough time where I don't have to think about anything. Because some of the coolest ideas and the coolest problem solving for me comes when I'm just chilling out. I could literally just be out with my friends having a beer somewhere, and all of a sudden an epiphany, just boom. I'm laughing, having a good time. All of a sudden, bang, I have an idea. and or just sitting outside, just watching the sky, doing nothing. All of a sudden, bang, in the shower, bang. I'm totally relaxed. And I think what's important for us is not to let ourselves get burnout so that we can continue going forward for a long, long time. I personally want to be a barber for a long, long time. I really, really love the act of cutting
Yeah.
hair itself. I've said it before. I say it on every podcast. If I became a millionaire, if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I'll still cut hair because I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Just got to
Yeah.
do it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to you. I don't know if it's God, the universe, what, but for some reason, I'm just built with like, hey, use your hands and your eyes to create stuff, and that's what I do. I'm a drummer. I'm a bass player. Play basketball, skateboard. I'm an active human
Hey.
being, and I gotta create. If I don't create, then I'm not. So don't burn out because then you're gonna stop creating. Creation comes from a very sacred place.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way as you, Mike. Like, man, I just absolutely love cutting hair. Bradford was one of the first people. Actually, he was the first person that got me into liking being a barber, and then just seeing him do it on a professional scale, and I followed that pattern. But I feel like you, if I was to hit $1 million a day or tomorrow, I'm still gonna cut. I may not cut as much as I'm cutting now, but I'm still gonna cut just because I'm a creative person. I draw, I play music, play basketball, I like to work out, things of that nature. And I don't want to stop using my mind to create. And then also just like talking to people too, man, just seeing where their head is. And I enjoy talking to my clients.
Yeah.
I've built up a clientele to where I enjoy talking to them, having real life conversations about just, life and trying to grow. And I don't want to cut that off. So yeah, don't burn out. Don't
Man.
burn out.
I remember, Michael, when you actually posted that post and you said if I won $1 million or something like that, like I would still cut hair because I want to be a barber. And one of the things that's what actually made me follow your channel, because that's exactly how I feel. There's two reasons why barbers end up loving being a barber. Either they like they love the transformation process that they're able to create for a client, or they love the relationships that they're able to build. Either way, whatever your love is, whatever reason it is, um, if you don't learn how to conduct business in a way that feeds you and feeds the clientele, you will burn out. That's the
Mhm.
thing that you have to understand. And that's why I would always try to like get the barbers that I'm speaking to. I've been going to barber colleges. I've been going to different expos, meeting people, connecting. But I try to let people know, like, if you don't understand the business of barbering, you're going to burn out. Like you're destined to burn out. You don't have another option. You're going to be thinking like an employee and not a business owner. And then
Mhm.
you go start getting frustrated with what you feel like is getting given to you, instead of understanding that you actually have to create the destiny that you want to see. So when we're talking about this burnout, man, it means something to me because I've experienced it multiple times. I think most barbers are going to experience barber burnout if you don't understand how to stop it. If you don't know how to avoid it, then you're going to do it. And one of the things that hit me was environment, right? Environment, the shop that I was in a business model that didn't fit who I was. The next thing was outside life, right? Outside life hit my life and bills went up. Things started to, and I didn't feel like I could grow behind the chair. And I was just like, man, I might need to quit. Like I might need to get out. And then the pandemic hit, where you realize like, okay, I started making more money. I got more clientele, but I'm only making money off of my labor.
Mhm.
And if my labor ever gets stopped for whatever reason, health,
Mhm.
it could be injury, it can be a pandemic, it could be a lot of different reasons why you may physically not be able to do what you want to do to make money. You should have built your business in a way that allows you to create income from different sources so that you're not only dependent, because if you are only dependent on that, you will get burnt out. So building your business the right way and thinking of ways to be able to make money without having to labor is the goal of every good business. And Michael, you've been able to achieve that through social media. But I did want to ask you, have you found it easier or harder to grow on Instagram versus YouTube? or are you on both platforms or TikTok? You know, some people, they kind of get in the weeds about what platform should I be on, how. So what would you say to those people?
I would say the same thing. Whatever you're most passionate about is the answer. Short answer. Longer haired answer is try it. Take a stab at all of them. See which one you like the most, or if you're not sure, whichever one you gravitate towards. I feel like TikTok is not my bag, but I will kind of sloppy seconds TikTok and YouTube. Instagram is definitely my thing because I prefer the content on Instagram a little bit more. I feel like I find more genuine content. With that said, all social media is rarely genuine, but I do find more genuine, honest content on Instagram. My son, who is 16, him and his more mature friends, they all find that Instagram is a little bit better than TikTok. They prefer Instagram. And so to me, I'm looking for just those types of folks that I guess want more genuine, authentic interaction than the hey, I flipped the pan upside down and look, it works. Like to me, it's like, okay, open the pickle jar with my backwards. Like, okay, like I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like I have not gravitated towards TikTok yet, simply because one, I don't value it personally.
Yeah.
Like going on there, it's actually annoying because of the stuff that you happen to have to see. You know, you go in there and it just feeds you just all, and then they make it difficult to get out too. Like you press back, like to get out, and it's just like new video, like
you're trapped.
So, but some of the stuff be entertaining, so you might get stuck and you be in that loop. Oh yeah, but I do find what you're saying interesting because I do feel like Instagram has barbers that want to grow, but they think more business oriented. TikTok seems like they play around more and just want to show you cool stuff, but it still helps you grow your reach. Now, YouTube is what I found is one of the good avenues for people that are actually trying to learn. So it's a different like space for everyone. Like YouTube, people are actually trying to learn whether how to cut hair, how to do something different, or trying to learn education of some sort. You know, they're trying to. But Instagram, they're not really trying to learn, but they are trying to be motivated. They are trying to be inspired. It'll trigger them to go watch a YouTube video or something like that. So just being able to use those tools in different ways. Wanted to see your perspective on what's your strategy. You know, how have you kind of grown in it?
Yeah, I think that Instagram has become less about tutorials. YouTube is more in-depth for its tutorials, for sure. But I do use my subscribers for longer-winded tutorials. So I do have people signing up on and off, and I put 3-minute, 4-minute long videos on Instagram subscribers. So it's kind of like, the way I see it is like Instagram can be like a mini condensed version of YouTube if you kind of market it right. But I think like they want that 1-minute quote, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to man the boats? David Goggins type shit. And then Instagram is more like, here's how you man the boats, you know, or I'm sorry, YouTube is more like, here's how you man the boats. So yeah, in a way, it's like a mini plug into YouTube. But to be honest with you, transparently, I tip my hat to all barbers who are doing well on YouTube, specifically barbers who have a family and they do these 15-minute long, here's how to do a men's haircut. Dude, I tip my hat to you because that shit is, I'm sorry, that stuff is, that it's labor intensive. You've got to like, dude, do a 1-minute video on Instagram, like a good edit, like with a real camera, and then go do a 15-minute YouTube video and tell me how sustainable that is.
Yeah.
Yo, that is hard.
Yeah.
That is hard.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, man, because you saying a 15-minute video, but ain't no telling how long it took to record that 15 minutes and then to edit it down to 15 minutes and then do the voiceovers, laying the tracks. Because I do some of that stuff myself, and it takes a lot of time, man. Just even like 1-minute videos, sometimes it might take like 20, 30 minutes to edit a 1-minute video. And it sounds crazy, but it's like, it's a lot of work.
I can't do it. I have YouTube videos and they're great, but I paid for half of them. So it's like, you know, like I would need somebody to like share my vision and work with me as we grow because, bro, I mean, I think I'd be great on YouTube. I think my videos are amazing. I have a couple of videos that I think are really good, like insanely great education, but it's kind of like to keep that quality and that level of editing, I don't have the time. Going back to the energy pie, I do not have the time.
Yeah.
Don't have it.
So your subscription-based account on IG is you see a lot of income from that?
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. I'll have anywhere from 7 to 8, 9 subscribers a month, and they can leave whenever they want. They can come whenever they want. So it's kind of like, it's nice because it takes the pressure off your back if you're not trying to go full YouTube, but you do want to make some money. It's kind of like, hey, I filmed this with my phone, but it's a 3-minute long, detailed, how to do a fade into weight or how to texturize the top. So I'll key in on details and literally spend 3 minutes on just one particular detail of a haircut. And people really seem to like it. So it's not popular. I don't think there's tons of people doing like Instagram subscriptions and advertising that I've seen. But for me, it's a little extra. It's a little something. Maybe it pays a cell phone bill. Maybe it pays, whatever. But every little bit helps. So I like it.
Yeah, I think we will start to see more of that in the future. People just taking advantage of the subscription-based Instagram accounts because, like you said, it might not be much, but if it can pay a bill here or there, it's better than nothing,
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I've seen a lot of people at one time just start saying, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my channel. And I was just like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know, this is like probably a year, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And I just seen a whole bunch of people saying it. I was like, man, what is this? So I've never subscribed to nobody, though. I never subscribed to anybody. I always wondered what was the real benefit to subscribing to them when they weren't giving me something that was super valuable, like super valuable for where I was trying to grow. So if you don't mind, can you share a little bit about your subscription?
Yeah. So again, I'll take 3 or 4 minutes and I'll go into great detail about a specific part of the head. So I'm not giving you whole haircut tutorials in 3 minutes. That's almost impossible.
Yeah.
YouTube is obviously 10, 15-minute long videos. That's their sweet spot. Well, Instagram, people don't have that attention, but I do know that if they want to get some value out of me in detail, I'm going to give them 3 or 4 minutes of quality detail about a particular thing. And for me, what I've learned is that most people's attention span, even when watching YouTube videos, even when coming to barber classes, you're usually only going to get 1 or 2, 3 tips max that you can take home with you and apply to the chair. So I find with Instagram, my videos are very detailed, but very specific. And I think a lot of my subscribers get a lot out of it because 2 reasons. One, they can just click on the video that's titled how to cut an undercut fade. If that's what you're struggling, you just get a reference and it's always there for you. There's a library, you're subscribed, you have access to it no matter what, whenever. Now, on YouTube, you got to go through 15 minutes. You got to find it. You got to search it. Here, it's all broken down for you where like you can just pinpoint what you need to brush up on that day. Maybe when you're on the treadmill, maybe when you're whatever, just like YouTube. Also, I think the thing is like a lot of people underestimate how much people want you to win. And I think when you have a loyal following, people who really like you, support you, and I'm the same way, bro. Like when I find someone of value, whether it's my favorite bartender, my favorite chef, I try to find ways I can give them more than just here's my money for your food. I'm trying to go a little farther. I'm trying to go a little above and beyond. It's almost like giving a tip. It's like if you've been following me for years and you've gotten better because of me, this is your way of going like, hey, I'm going to subscribe for a while because you know what? You provide such value for me. I want to support you. I want to support your family. I want to support your business. Yeah. Here's the way to do it. It's not a lot of money a month, but it's something. And if it's only for a couple months, hey, so be it. You can leave whenever. But I really appreciate the fact that there's people out there that are like, yeah, I'm going to learn some things, but I'm also supporting a barber who I really believe in, who I really want to support, who I really want to encourage. So I think it's both of those things, to be honest.
I really, really like that because what you said is the circle around tipping, right? But tipping is a form of gratitude. And that's what a lot of barbers, they don't realize that. They feel like it's an expectation. Like you need to tip me because I just did this service. Well, no, not really. Don't nobody need to tip you. If you want that money, you should just put it in your price and stop complaining. But the tip is a form of gratitude. And when you don't allow someone, if you don't give people the opportunity to pay you for something outside of just whatever service it is that you're doing, then when you were talking about your education and people subscribing to your channel, we would never be able to give it to you. right? Like if you never said, hey, I got a subscription that you can, show some support. If you care about me, you care about my growth, you care about understanding this type of content, whatever, this is what we do. Here, you subscribe, and if you never did that, nobody could subscribe. So
I'm sorry.
you have to put yourself out there. And that's even I'm taking that for us too, Delmar, just in regards to Elevated Barbers Podcast, because one of the goals, and I don't think it's like anything selfish, is we want to be able to monetize this channel. Like we want to be able to monetize the YouTube channel. We want to be able to monetize Elevated Barbers Podcast, not because we're trying to get super, super rich off of this, but we are trying to supplement some income. We are trying to make sure that we can invest more in this product. We are trying to make sure that we can give back to the barbers that are getting value out of this, so that we can be the best versions of ourselves for them, right? So if we can't make more money to do those things, then we will eventually not be able to exist. That's just reality. So we're trying to monetize as well, and I think that's a good strategy that we can even use, Delmar.
Yeah, definitely.
So here it is, elevating us, man. That's what this is about, though. That's what Elevated Barbers Podcast is really about. We're helping elevate barbers that are elevating barbers. So, you're one of those. Thank you,
bro. Appreciate it. Remember, there's some girl somewhere right now in the world just showing her butt, making a lot of money, guys. So there's no reason why we can't say, hey, this is how I do haircuts, or this is my podcast support. There's no reason why we can't, because there's people out there doing a lot less, getting a lot more. So don't hesitate to ask, You never know. So
that's real though, man. There's people out here making money just from showing shoes or playing video games, bro. This is something I grew up doing. We all probably grew up doing. And now we see, I get a kid in my chair, right? And I see a kid watching somebody else on YouTube play a video game.
Yeah.
And this person that they're watching is getting paid millions of dollars to play a video game. And I'm sitting here working and fading behind the chair. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But to see somebody getting paid off of recording themselves playing video games, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So they go to show you, like you said, Mike, like, nothing is untouchable. Like this podcast can make money. Mike doing content is making money. Like, so we just have to like really put ourselves out there. And, when you influence people or you educating people or you're inspiring people, when it's genuine, people will be looking forward to giving back, tipping, as Mike said earlier, just to show their appreciation, that they appreciate what you're doing and you're taking the time out to give to us,
Yeah.
Yep. I have friends that follow me, and they don't get haircuts from me, and they're local here in El Paso, Texas, and a lot of them just want to buy a t-shirt. They don't even get a haircut from me, but they're like, hey, if you come out with those shirts again, let me know. And it's because they just like me. And I think that's what people underestimate is, and this is what I learned after COVID really like kind of got inside me a little bit more, is that once you get yourself out of the way, it allows you to be yourself. And so it's not about being the best barber, the most skilled barber. It's not about being the best educator or best content creator. It's really not. It's just about being as authentic as you can with others. There's a vulnerability to it that is very scary, but it is the truth. People that really will gravitate towards your genuineness are the ones that will be with you for a long time, and also be the ones most grateful for you. So you never know who that is. It may not even be a barber. It could be just a fan of what you're saying or what you're doing or how you move, or it could be anything, man. That's the craziest thing.
You just gotta put yourself out there. Like one thing I always would struggle with is, you're trying to find clientele, right? So you'd be like, man, I gotta find clientele. I gotta make sure I gotta get to the clientele or whatever doing. But if you don't never put yourself in a way for you to be attractive, then you won't attract the things that you want. So you have to, instead of trying to hunt people, actually learn how to become a magnet. Like learn how to be a magnet so that you can attract what you want. Go ahead, Mike. You was about to say something.
Okay, so there's two sides of that coin, right? So in the beginning, when you start out, right?
Yeah.
You go grab who you need to grab, right? In the beginning, you go grab who you got to get, and then you cut up anyone's hair that will sit in your chair. Any human being on the planet, you just need to get reps in. So in the beginning, yes, you go out and you hand out a bajillion business cards. You go everywhere. You tell everyone and their grandma that they're a barber. Even if she doesn't need a haircut, you're going to tell grandma that you're a barber. Everyone needs to know. But then, like you said, there's a shift in business that happens. The shift is, what kind of business do you want to be? Do you want to be the business that attracts, or do you want to always be the one chasing? And so what I've learned is the law of attraction is you just become the person that you want to be and attract the people that are like-minded. So you might be cutting hair less, but you're going to be getting a lot more. I haven't made a business card in
Right. Just that alone is magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shit you not. Ask my clients. They just go to Booksy. They have me saved. They know where I am. Word of mouth spreads. And my favorite business is even outside of barbering, because I like to think business minded, because my mom's in business. My great grandparents had a great business in New York. I just like the idea of if you know, you know. And I like that. And I think as barber, you can get to a place where you no longer need to work in a 16-chair shop anymore. You can go to a 3-4 chair studio, and those who know. And the price is the price. And no one's going to haggle you. You don't have to worry about shitty clientele.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the third time. Crappy clientele. You don't have to worry about bad relationships in business. And if they come, they're going to be easier to spot. So yeah, at first take everyone, and you gotta be humble and really grind it out for a couple of years. But after a while, it changes, and now you start attracting the right people, and that's when you really get excited and really get inspired and really go to another level in your career.
Mike.
Go ahead, D. I got a question for you too, Mike. But go ahead, D.
Mike, would you say that in regards to getting to that point, does that have something to do with investing in your personal development? Like you said earlier, you have to become that thing that is attractive. And I would like to think that it comes from, investing in yourself to grow as a person. And then when you grow as a person, you're growing your business also.
I wish I had just had easy answers all the time, but for some, it's going to be stop being cheap and invest in yourself. Yeah. Classes, tools, whatever, just stop being cheap.
Yeah.
For some of us that are ambitious, naturally, we're going to invest and we're going to learn and we're going to be watching the YouTube tutorials and, going to these shows. And then we're still not going to grow. And the reason why is because of our mindset. So one thing I had to learn is you've got to be a little brave and ask yourself, do I really want to go to the next level? And if so, sometimes I've got to push the price of my haircuts ahead. Sometimes I've got to look at things and go, hey, I don't care what the market says, I'm worth more. And I got to push through. And so it depends on the person. Some people, they want to charge $100 a haircut and haven't even been to a class before. They just watch a couple of YouTube videos and think they have a degree now. So they're just and I've seen them. And all they can do is taper and color in the hands a haircut and they call it $100. I've seen it. Happens all the time. They get away with it too. And that's fine. I'm not judging them. It's whatever. But I also know a lot of people who've taken one-on-one classes, gone to multiple expos, and they're still sitting at $40 a haircut. They've been cutting hair 8, 9, 10 years, and it's because they're insecure and they're scared up the price and they're scared to push forward. And those people are more like my people. I was always the one scared to push the envelope. So to those people, I say, put it out there. Increase your haircut by $5 or $10, and then when you're nervous about it, tell yourself this: well, now I got to perform, because if you put it out there, you will rise to the occasion. Human beings always rise to the occasion under pressure. Put pressure on yourself. Up the haircut price. And then rise to the occasion. Apply what you've learned and use those new tools. And don't be afraid to just go for it. And I think a lot of people they're scared.
Yeah, that's a testament to truly who I am. I'm a person who sometimes I back myself into a corner just because I want to figure a way to get out of that corner. So that may be, going up on my price. Okay, I went up on my price. Now I got to deliver. Skill set wise, or it might be investing in the class, or it might be reading a book, which I'm just now getting into. I hate reading. I'm not a person who can sit down and read books, but I'm learning through, like I said earlier, networking with people and talking to different ones, and watching Bradford grow, because we have a close personal relationship. Watching him grow, it's inspiring me to grow. A lot of the education is in books. It's in these programs. It's in these courses. If you want to grow as a business person, I'm not talking about just, your skill set and fading. You can learn a lot of this stuff on YouTube or taking classes. But if you want to grow as a person, you have to invest in your personal development.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I guarantee you, I've been in this industry. I've been licensed for 13 years. Every time I've invested in myself, my business has grown, and I've gotten the quality clients that I've wanted. I don't have to chase anymore. Like you said, Mike, I can't tell you the last time I went to Custom Ink or whatever, the Vista Print, and made a card, man. Like, people find out about me word of mouth, and I'm still, even though I'm booked, I'm still getting a lot of new clients. And I'm like, oh, how you found out about me? Oh, Instagram. Oh, how you found out about me? Oh, my homeboy told me about you. And it's like, man, like, people still talking about me, and it shows me that I'm doing a good job. And not only that, I just try to be a good person, also a good, genuine person, and try to connect with people too.
That's probably the most important thing that has been said on this podcast, is that if you want to grow, you need personal development. Your personal development is a direct connection to everything you do. Yeah. Nothing that we do in this life is compartmentalized. Nothing is compartmentalized. You can't do this and have that not affect this. Yeah. Like, everything works and flows together. Not everything is so linear and sectioned off. Like, life is crazy messy. So personal development helps you navigate that mess, even in professional. One thing I always say, and I always want to say this in every podcast, everything develops on relationships. So we have a relationship with our family. We have a relationship with our friends. We have a relationship with the shop owner, or for me, it'd be like the company I represent. But all of the relationships we have are all connected. The principles that help you navigate those relationships are what's going to guide you to success and growth. So think about it like this. The same principles you apply to your kids, to your friends, to your family, are the same principles you're going to apply to your clients, to your barbershop owner. Same principles, bro. Why? Because we're all human beings, and we all are imperfect, and we all have our own angle, and we all have our own game. And so those things carry you through. I think when you read books, when you study self-help stuff, which sounds so corny sometimes, I know. Even I get grossed out by some of the self-help stuff I hear. Yeah. But it's true. Yeah. It is true. You got to study that stuff, because it's going to help you so many ways.
Yeah. I always like to say that you're going to bring you wherever you go.
Yeah, 100%. There's no way not to.
Yeah, there's no way for you not to go wherever you're going. And whatever habits that you have is going to go wherever you go. So if you have bad habits just as an individual when it comes to your relationships, in, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a marriage, whether it be your clients, whether it be your coworkers, you bring certain habits. Like, it's just who you are. It's what triggers you, right? There's going to be certain triggers that you have that's going to lead to certain behavioral patterns that you have. And if you don't recognize that kind of stuff, you don't start to learn how to develop those things, how to remove some triggers that you have, then you'll always get set off one way or the other. I remember I was talking to one of my clients, and they was kind of going in about this situation that happened to them. And they was just like, yeah, man, they just push my buttons, bro. They just always pushing my buttons. And I would just let them talk. And I was just like, why you got so many buttons?
You should do something about those buttons, bro.
Yeah.
Button up or something.
Yeah. But it's so key, man, what we're talking about right now, because if you don't realize that personal development is key to your business development, then you'll never have freedom development. You'll never be able to build the freedom that you want, because your business is never going to be what you really want, because you can't be the person that has or does the things that needs to happen for the business to go to where it needs to go. So you have to understand yourself well enough to get the value out of yourself, and then remove the dirt so that people can see the true jewel that's within you. And you probably got multiple jewels too. Everybody got multiple gifts.
Hey, I got a jewel, and I also got a flaw. One of the things that absolutely terrify me, and I'm trying to get over it, and I've made some strides, just getting to understand business. I am just not a business-minded person. I'm not into math. I'm not into science. I'm not into numbers or figures. I'm just a creator. And so my brain it stretches me to talk business, to look at numbers. When I hear, my wife works for a corporate business, and they talk about profit and loss margins, and I hear the little Zoom calls, and I'm just like, nah, not me. I get anxiety. I'm like, that's not me. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to know about, as far as I'll go is I'll be like, all right, you know what? This is a business expense. I'm going to take a picture of my receipt, and we'll store it away for taxes. Like, that's as far as I'm going. I don't want to do none of that stuff, bro. That honestly, bro, I think that's my weakest part of my business, is that I'm not great at business in general. If I buy a product, put a logo on it, what do I sell it for? I've done it so many times already, and I still don't know if I'm doing it right. I have no idea.
This is one of the cool things because that's like right up my alley. Because I hate numbers too, though. Like I hate numbers, but I love numbers at the same time. Like we all hate numbers, and well, I shouldn't say we all. Some like people that's accountants and stuff, they love numbers. They like, oh my God, let's figure this out. Me, I'm like, no, man, I don't want to see profit and loss the way that you're showing it. It's weird. It's too complicated. But one thing that I've actually learned about business, Michael, which is really it shifted the way that I look at business, is it's never really about profit and loss more than it's about patterns of results. So if you have the right input, like business is legitimately a system. You have an input, you have a process, and you have an output. Like that's literally what business is. And the strategy around understanding business is saying, okay, if I do this input, what process do I have to make sure that I get this outcome? And when you can simplify it like that, then numbers just means how much you're making money. You're like, okay, so for instance, if I know that $1,000 is going to give me $5,000, I would love that math all the time, right? If I put in $1,000 and I get $5,000 back, I'm gonna love that math. Like you don't have to run from that. You just have to understand what's the input, what's the process, and then the result that you want, and you just follow those patterns. So whether it comes to a product, okay, this is the product. I want to charge this amount. Well, the input is how much does it cost to create the product? The outcome is the cost or the price that you're going to charge the client, whatever that is. The process is understanding what does it take for me to create the product that's going to cost me this much, and then how do I deliver it so that I get the value? Once you get that process down, business is easy. You see what I'm saying? Well, I don't know if you see what I'm saying, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I've done all that stuff. It's it's like the passion behind it. You're very passionate about it. Just listening to you talk about it, there's like a lot of passion behind what you're saying, and that's cool because like that's why we're all different. That's why we all need one another, and you need a team. You need people that can help guide you and all that. I love that. I think it's great. But you can tell in your voice, you're like you flip the switch, and we're like, oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's because that's what I be trying to show barbers. That's one of the things that shifted my business. So, Michael, I've been a licensed barber since 2007, right? So I've been in the game.
You're old, man.
Little season, got a little season. But from 2007 all the way to 2016, I was just cutting hair, man. Like, had no idea about the pattern that business is. You know, it was just cut hair. Hopefully some people come to me, pass out business cards. Hopefully some people come to me, and then I cut their hair, and then hopefully they come back. And I was just like, I got tired. Like I got tired because I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wasn't able to live the life that I wanted to live. It was just a little bit frustrating. And so 2016 is when I took my first business class. And that was the first time that I actually understood that I was the CEO of me before I could be the CEO of a business. So like we were talking about personal development, right? I had to learn how to become a better person so that I could be a better barber, not at the skill set, but at the behaviors and the habits that I created. So when I started to understand that, it took, and I was making like maybe 50,000, maybe close to 60 at the 2016 mark. But when I started to shift my mindset towards business, I actually became a six-figure barber in 3 years. You know, it took me from 2016 to 2019 to like learn my little steps and changes and stuff. And then I finally became a six-figure barber in 2019. It's been like that ever since. And then come 2020, I started to understand about passive income. But I always am like passionate about showing barbers, like if you set your business up right, then you can do what businesses do that barbers don't do. One thing that we don't do, barbers, we don't learn how to work smarter, not harder. Like we really focus on how do I do more work? How do I do more work? How do I learn the next skill set? And it's just like, well, that's all labor. That you're trying to learn how to work more. which is cool. You want to do the work that you value and all of that stuff. But if your mind is how can I work more, then that's all you'll do. The next thing that businesses do that barbers don't do is actually learn how to work less and make more. So how can you provide higher value services? How can you provide how can you be more premium? If you don't give your clients the option to make sure that they know that you have a premium to offer, then you'll never make premium money. You'll just always be doing what you're doing, trying to keep hitting your head against the glass. And the last thing that businesses do is really focusing on how to make money without having to work at all. So we don't think like that. We think of how can I cut more hair? How can I be better behind the chair? And that's good. You have to do that. But when you really remove yourself from the labor and realize that business has nothing to do with the labor, nothing to do with the labor. That's what gets the transaction, but it's not the business. The business has to do with so many other things that aren't complicated. It's just understanding a pattern. It's like, oh, okay, I got to attract people. I have to learn how to communicate the right way. I have to learn how to create an experience or a bonding mechanism that causes a person to stay connected to me. And then I create habits for them so that they know what to expect. I know what to expect. And then I learn how to optimize that process, make it a consistent flow. Boom, money is going to be made automatically. And I just have to grow and optimize that flow. So anyways, like you said, I'm very passionate about that. So if you have not done this already, we're going to need you to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so that you can get the latest gems from everything going on here at Elevated Barbers Podcast. All right. Well, we don't want to hold you too long, my friend. I think I lost my question in the process of saying other random stuff. So
it's all good, man. Well, I'll tell you what, I think that this podcast is going to do a lot of good, man. I think there are going to be people that are going to connect to one side, connect to the other side. And I think that's what it's about. I think it's just connecting to the people, connecting to the right people.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is in barbering is that if we can just help one another out without an ego, I think that's going to be the most important thing. There's a lot of, I think I said it earlier, like lack of vulnerability with barbers. Either, like I said, how we were raised or insecurities from childhood, whatever it is. And I think that's the thing that barbering really needs right now. And Instagram can be that bridge. And with the most recent content I've put out, I'm just trying to like inch that way over to where I can expose myself enough to allow a connection that's deeper than just, oh, that's a cool barber. Oh, that's a cool haircut. Because like you said, I think that with time and practice, your hands, your eyes, these skill sets that we have can be honed. And I'm not saying just anyone can do it, but pretty much if you got the desire to be good at doing a fade, just work on doing a fade. Like, even though I get paid to teach fades and shears and all this stuff, these are skills that you could probably hone yourself. It might take a little longer, but either way you can. But personal development, learning your issues, your weaknesses and strengths, whether it be business or whatever it might be, personal growth, I do think that that's what we need right now in the barber world. I see a lot of financial talk, which is good. There's a lot of financial, quote unquote, gurus trying to teach barbers a lot of stuff. And I don't see enough of the personal growth stuff. And so I think you guys have cool perspectives, between you two. I think you guys have a really good angle at approaching like a two-prong approach to what these barbers need. So it's been a blessing to be on the podcast. I'm glad you guys had me. And it really helped me give me a little hope for the barber industry. Because sometimes, some days, it looks pretty bleak out there. Like, some days I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna make it, But yeah, so it's good.
Does, man. I definitely agree with you. I know sometimes when I'm creating content that it's still part of barbering, but it's not me showing any phase or anything like that. I try to put myself out there and make myself vulnerable. If I'm gonna show the good, show some of the bad. Not all the bad, but show some of the bad. Just so people can feel a connection. Just a little bit. But I do that just so people can connect and see that, okay, he's not just Instagram barber with 10,000 plus followers, but he's actually real. He's genuine. I connect with him. Like, oh, he went through this and he came through it. Because I'm not going to just leave you at the problem or, what I went through. I ain't going to just leave you there.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you on the good side. So I'm going to take you there, but I'm going to tell you how I got through it. And
better than me. Sometimes I just leave you there. So
no, yeah. And then you'd be amazed how many people connect with that, man, and it inspires them because, this it's life, like you said, it gives us a lot of curveballs and it can be hard sometimes. And people just need to know that, hey, there's real people out there that's going through real issues, but they're getting through it.
Yep,
So
absolutely. And that's the thing is I'm trying to show people that there's not my way or my answer may not be your way or answer, but if you connect with it and you get something good out of it, God bless, because I know that I look at Facebook from 12, 14 years ago, and I'm embarrassed at some of the stuff I posted. I'm not the same person I was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So I might not be the same person I am today, 12 years from now.
Yeah.
So whatever I say, take it with a grain of salt. But if you get something from it, good for you. Like, I'm glad, but that's how I approach all this. Like, I'm no expert, man, but this is how I'm getting through it. This is how I'm doing it. So
absolutely. We all trying to figure it out.
Yep. We all trying to figure it out. We all trying to grow through life. And, as we grow, we're not going to be the same if we're growing. Some people get stuck in who they are and they feel like they can't change. And sometimes people don't want to change. But
it's tough. It's scary. It's hard.
Yeah.
But that's why, we're calling it Elevated Barbers Podcast for a reason, because elevation is actually going to cause a transformation. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to breathe different at higher heights. You're going to have to be different so that you can take the pressures at different heights and growth. So if we're all trying to elevate, then that means we're trying to grow. We are trying to get to a higher version of what we are doing. So I don't want to hold you no longer, Mike. This has been an outstanding episode, bro.
Absolutely.
Outstanding, man. So we're just going to close out this episode. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode with Michael R. Kelly. He brought a lot of gems, a lot of jewels, a lot of genius to this episode. Delmar got a little into his mindset, got into his bag as well. So if you like this kind of content, please go ahead, subscribe, comment that you like this episode, what stood out to you. Because at the end of the day, we are here trying to elevate you. This is Elevated Barbers Podcast, and we're elevating barbers like Michael so that we can help elevate you in your business. So if you enjoyed it, go ahead and follow us, man. I think we are out.
Peace.
The information that you're giving them is going to elevate them financially, mentally, emotionally, and going to rise and they're going to elevate.
We are here trying to elevate barbers as they're elevating the industry.
The one and only Elevated Barbers Podcast. Let's start the show.